Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and I'm out here to talk about the common and kind of popular theory going around the KH community, which is Sora being the Master of Masters. Me personally, I don't really want this to be the case, and I'll tell you why. For one, I want this new Lost Masters arc to introduce completely new characters. I don't want to have another Xehanort be the main villain or a character we already know be the main villain. I would like them to be introducing a new, unique, original character. And also, I think it would cause kind of a crazy paradox, because it would cause our Sora to be ended up where he is because of something that a past Sora did, kind of like Xehanort with his past self talking to his future self and kind of creating his own destiny, things like that, and taking away the aspect of Sora just happening to get wrapped up in something much bigger just by chance and by being in the right place at the right time and all of that different kind of stuff. So I personally don't want and don't think that Sora is the Master of Masters. I went and asked you guys what you think on this topic, and from 42 votes we got 83% saying no and 17% saying that yes, they think that the Master of Masters is Sora or some other form of Sora. So while of course this doesn't reflect the entire Kingdom Hearts community, it seems like most people do not think that this is the case. Everyone is of course aware of the possibility, and so I'll also put on some comments on the screen of what people said. But just like the video with the Keyblade that I did a little while back, I still want to talk about the implications that could happen if it does turn out to be true, or different things that could happen, cool things or crazy things that could happen if it is true. So the first thing I want to talk about is how this could be true, is that maybe at some point after Sora lost all his friends at the Keyblade graveyard, maybe he went a different route. Instead of having the power of waking and bringing back all of his friends, maybe he did something else or carried on his own or something like that. Maybe he didn't straight up die there, but he did something and carried on. Maybe he time traveled way further back to the past to stop everything, all of this stuff, the darkness from spreading and happening. Because all we know, one of the things we know about the Master of Masters is that he lost his comrades of darkness, and that kind of started why he's like a complete enemy of darkness. Like he's trying to just completely eradicate it, and he hates darkness. It may be from a Sora that completely lost and just decided to time travel back to like the beginning of at least this timeline or the last timeline or whatever. Not only that, but this would be an older Sora. If this is Sora, obviously he's not even voiced by Haley Joel Osment. He has a different voice that sounds more like an adult, looks like an adult. So this would be an older Sora, maybe in his 20s or 30s. Master doesn't really sound like a 50, 60-year-old. Like, he doesn't sound like an old man, but he's not like a teenager either. Like, this would be an adult Sora after some time. Maybe he spent some years in the past and then taught everyone how to use Keyblades, because he would be technically the first Keyblade wielder now, because we know Master of Masters is the one who taught the foretellers how to use their Keyblades, and then eventually they train all the Union people and all of that, and that would change things a lot. Like, that would be kind of insane. And also, he would have been someone who started creating Dream Eaters. We know that the Tier Thieves now are Dream Eaters. They kind of transform into Dream Eaters. He would also kind of have created all the Dream Eaters that he's so close to in Dream Drop Distance, and just a whole feedback of things. Another thing that is a big thing that the Master of Masters did is send Lucio on his journey to watch the events of the future, write it down in a book, and send it back to the past. And one thing that Sora sent Lucio to do is to view the events of everything in the timeline while holding the no-name Keyblade, so that the Master of Masters' eye can kind of look through and see everything, and he can write down everything that happens in the book. And the Book of Prophecies is already made by the time of Union Cross, at least what we saw, and keyback cover and all that kind of stuff. So Lucio completed that mission already. He went through, saw all that, and now Mom was able to write everything down. Now he knows everything that happens up to the point of where all his friends die, which it's actually kind of interesting that the Book of Prophecies literally ends there. Darkness prevailing, light expires. That's literally at the point where he would have time traveled back, going with this theory where all his comrades died to darkness and he went and time travel instead, just bringing everyone back to life. Now he would know everything up to the point where he left. He knows everything beforehand, everything that happens at that point, and now he would know exactly how to plan and what to do, maybe to steer things in different directions so that they don't end up like how they did before. The reason that he always has his coat on is because, just like Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, he lost his body, kind of like the original version of Mr. Robe guy walking around in a cloak because he has no body. He's like, I'm not taking it off. Only him and Lucio wear those coats back then, and he covers them up. The other foretellers cover their face, but they wear different clothes, more colorful clothing, and they have their whole Union symbols on their faces and all of that. So like, we don't know why only those two, Master of Masters and Lucio, have them and not the rest of the foretellers. Lucio, I mean, he would have had his own body, so that's just his own choice, I guess, but maybe Master of Masters doesn't have one, and that's why he's wearing a coat 24/7. Another implication of this, if this would be true, is that Sora's morals have become a lot more dangerous and unethical. Master of Masters seemingly is trying to fight darkness. Like, the conventional definition of a good guy in Cage, usually someone who's like fighting against the darkness and is on the side of light. The morality of his plan is a lot more gray than Sora is, because Sora would not make people become hosts of the ancient darknesses or orchestrate an entire Keyblade war, making people summon Kingdom Hearts because of his disappearance. Sora wouldn't typically do that, so this would essentially kind of be like an anti-hero Sora or an evil Sora, however way you take it. Granted, we don't know the Master's full plan, but we know that he wants to chill in the darkness and escape to a world without light and darkness. That would be a pretty big change for Sora. And the last bullet point I have on this is that if he is the Master of Masters, then that would explain why they keep blocking out his name when he explained his identity and all that to young Xehanort. If you remember in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, he was like, okay, sure, I'll tell you my name. My name is blank, and then Xehanort has some sort of shocked face, and he says that he's just a lost master, and that's it. In both Kingdom Hearts 3 and Dark World, they blocked out his name. And I'd imagine that's because his name is going to mean something to us. If his name was Jeff, then, I mean, there's no real difference between learning now and later that his name is Jeff. So I think that his name would actually mean something important to us. Some name that we might recognize, or an anagram of something we might recognize. And I think that maybe if he is Sora, then obviously they wouldn't want to reveal it in a random cutscene like that. But yeah, there are a lot of different things that could come out of, and that would have happened if Sora is the Master of Masters. Lots of crazy things, and this is without even knowing what's going to happen in KH4. Who knows, maybe if Sora is the Master of Masters, maybe the Luck Sword giving Sora the card kind of threw off his plans. He's like, wait a minute, Sora, my other self isn't supposed to come here. They were supposed to just like win, save the day, and that's kind of just it. Maybe he time travels back, or maybe after, you know, he does the Power of Awakening, saves Kairi, he goes back in time and restarts the entire cycle. Who knows? But the thing I am wondering in terms of Mom is, like, for one, was Sora coming to Quadratum part of the plan, or is that something where it's like, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen because we got both Keyblades and darkness, and well, the Keyblade, Sora's Keyblade, is typically a weapon of light, and the big dark side is obviously darkness. So I would imagine this wasn't part of the plan. So I don't know, maybe Luxor threw a wrench in his plan. So anyway, if this does end up being the case, and if you think that Sora is the Master of Masters, are you guys excited to see 2 Soras clashing, or maybe even 3 Soras with Yozora jumping into the mix? Would that mean that Master and Masters talking to Yozora is kind of like him talking to another version of himself to go save himself? Maybe that's why he's saying to save Sora, because he's like, that's me. I don't want myself to die now that I'm in Quadratum. So tell Yozora, the unreality version of myself, to go save myself. Maybe he's the one who said that. I don't know. We also don't know who told Yozora to save Sora, so it's kind of tricky. But I can't wait for KH4 and other games in this saga, so it's a bit more clear on who this guy even is and what he really wants. Like, what's his end game now that he's in the world he sought out. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.